but I see that Malawi and Ibadan is not yet in, so we would probably wait for some minutes before I get my assignment to you. So let's say, so what did you learn yesterday, or what is still in your head from yesterday? So what do you think? What are the most important fundamental things for a functioning, sustainable, stable nation?
People, the land, and the laws. And of the laws, there's like 4 different kinds of laws. And then
this would be
executive, legislative, and judiciary.
Exactly. Also that's about the separation of power in exactly the structure of the government. But I say, I mean, when you talk about these 4 other things, then I think you want to mention, I mean, there are 4, I say that's 4 fundamental things for building up this law. So what was it?
There was a common law, separation of power, foundation.
Yeah, common law, yes, separation of power.
Transparency and accountability.
Yes.
And democracy.
Yeah, the 4th one. Yeah, I mean it's democracy, but we didn't reach that far. I mean, it's what is the human right, or it's the obligation and the rights. So I think that these are the main pillars in a constitution. And so what I think is now that you can observe by yourself first your constitution, and Google for your constitution, and find out the preamble. Just read the preamble of your constitution, and let me know what is the vision of your country. I mean, I showed you our preamble, and I just took some, not the whole, but do you remember some? What was in the preamble of our constitution?
It's the I don't know the exact word, but it's the idea that like the strength of a nation is on its weakest members.
Yes, exactly. That's the last sentence.
Yeah.
And the first one would be was in the name of God. In the name of God, we people of Switzerland, we are responsible towards the creation. That means when there is a creation, there is a requirement of a creator. So, and this is that spoke up to me when I read our constitution, and I would say it's clearly point out to God. So, and we see also the biblical Christian values in it. So now you can have time to go to find your preamble of your constitution of your country, and let me know. Read what stuck up to you. What do you see? Is there God in it? Is there good principles in it? And what is the vision of the country? And to whom would be your responsible, or what is right? And let me know. So I give you some time. Just let's say you can do it in teams, how we're sitting together, what's speaking up, reading it together, and then from every group. Let's say 2 from India, 2 groups can speak out, or at least one will tell us about the preamble of the Constitution of India. From Ibadan, 1, and here from we have Britain, or how do we say Britain? No, Great Britain, or is no? The country is Great Britain, no?
Is it UK?
The UK. United Kingdom. Great Britain is not the same.
It's the islands.
Okay, sorry about that.
Great Britain is also a term that was used during colonialism, and so they don't use Great Britain.
Okay. United Kingdom, and then we have Canada, and we Holland here. So is it good 5 minutes time look to your constitution, to the preamble, and tell me what did you find in it? Okay, 5 minutes time. This preamble. Okay, let's go to Ibadan. Ibadan, so can you read to us your preamble from the Constitution? Please, clearly, loud enough, and that we can hear it.
Okay. I read. It says the rights to freedom, thoughts, and religion. Every person should be entitled to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including freedom to change his religion or belief. And freedom, either alone or in a community with others, and in a public or in private, to manifest and propagate his religion or belief in worship, teaching, and observance. No person attending any place of education should be required to receive religion instructions or take part or attend any religious ceremony or observance if such instruction, ceremony, or observance relates to a religion other than his own, or a religion not approved by his parents or guardian. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. So what spoke out to you? I have it also now on my screen, but what spoke up to you?
Well, there was the mention of God briefly, so in unity and harmony as one indivisible sovereign nation of God. God roots. We love that.
So say it again, please.
It's like there was like a root of God, that it was one indivisible nation under God.
Good. Something else? So every citizen should know the preamble at least from their own constitution, because I think that's the vision of the country. That's the vision that the people have, and this I think it can make a huge difference. Or you can see that often what is not functioning, but probably you have in the constitution, you have the vision, but you see corruption and not really a separation of power or a misusing and so on and so on. So that's good. Good. And so let's go to India.
We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation.
And finish? Okay. I have one more sentence, but it's okay.
Yeah, in our constitution, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good. So, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Sounds a bit like the French Revolution. Yeah, but it's good. It's really good. Can we now have the constitution of not England,
United Kingdom.
the United Kingdom? Now it's I have it.
See the circles.
So the
Yeah, it
US of the British Isles.
is.
Mm.
I'll speak. United, we stand in celebration in the diverse voices that make up the great chorus of our nation. Confident in our individuality and steadfast in our shared values and common purpose, we, the citizens of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, have come together in the spirit of self-determination in order to establish the principles of our law and governance. By this act, we create for ourselves a sovereign state, animated by many spirits, accountable to all, conscious of the responsibility that we bear to future generations and of their role in defending and regenerating this Constitution. We lay down maxims crafted to promote civic harmony, mutual tolerance, universal well-being, and social and political freedom. We embody these ideas in democratic government and enshrine them in a system of law, and we empower each citizen to reform this design by democratic process and political debate. By popular mandate, we establish this Constitution. The Constitution, through this undertaking, we remind one another of the benefits and duties of citizenship enshrined in membership of the United Kingdom, challenging ourselves to enact these principles throughout society. Let our examples stand as an inspiration to the peoples of the world, and to their rulers and their governments. Let our principles animate our dedication to peace and justice in international affairs, and let our united resolve grow ever stronger under the enlightened auspices of this Constitution.
Wow. Great. When we hear in all these, we hear this freedom, democracy, liberty. We want to be a free nation, a wealth nation, and all of that. I mean, this is actually the 10 commandments of our nations. Let's say the 10 commandments of the Bible, or this is really the source of a nation. But it's good. Thank you. Now go to Canada.
It's very short, just so you know. It is one sentence. Whereas Canada is founded upon principles to recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law.
The supremacy of God and
The supremacy of God and rule of law.
Wow, that's good.
That's it.
So what does it say to you?
It says that Canada's founded. Well, it's founded upon the principles that they recognize as God and the rule of the law over the land. So it's God and the law.
Yeah, I think the law is pointed to the law of God. Obviously, so you're a Christian nation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's good. Good to hear. No, but often people don't know that, and we have in all the Western, mainly the Western, but also in others, we have a lot of these principles, God, and so all in it, but we don't aware of that. We are not aware of that. Holland.
Doesn't
China?
have one.
China?
Yeah. I warn you, it's a little bit long, but I think it'll be interesting to read. So.
Yeah. Do you want to read? Also, I mean, how long is it? 20 pages?
Like a page.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah. Let's go.
I'll read it fast. China is a country with one of the longest histories in the world. The people of all of China's nationalities have jointly created a culture of grandeur and have a glorious revolutionary tradition. After 1840, feudal China was gradually turned into semi-colonial and semi-feudal country. The Chinese people waged many successive heroic struggles for national independence and liberation, and for democracy and freedom. Great and earth-shaking historical changes have taken place in China in the 20th century. The Revolution of 1911, led by Dr. Sun Yat-sen, abolished the feudal monarchy and gave birth to the Republic of China. But the historic mission of the Chinese people to overthrow imperialism and feudalism remained unaccomplished. After waging protracted and arduous struggles, armed and otherwise, across a zigzag course, the Chinese people of all nationalities, led by the Communist Party of China with Chairman Mao Zedong as the leader, ultimately In 1949, through the rule of imperialism, feudalism, and bureaucratic capitalism, won a great victory in the new democratic revolution and founded the People's Republic of China. Since then, the Chinese people have taken control of state power and become masters of the country. After the founding of the People's Republic, China gradually achieved its transition from a new democratic to socialist society. The socialist transformation of the private ownership of the means of production has been completed. The system of exploitation by man by man abolished, and the socialist system established. The People's Democratic Dictatorship, led by the working class and based on the alliance of workers and peasants, which is in essence the dictatorship of the proletaire, has been consolidated and developed. Chinese people and the Chinese People Liberation Army have defeated imperialist and homogenous aggression, sabotage, and armed provocations, and have thereby safeguarded China's national independence and security and strengthened its national defense. Major successes have been achieved in economic development, and an independent and relatively comprehensive socialist system of industry has basically been established. There has been a marked increase in agricultural production. Significant advances have been made in educational, scientific, and cultural undertakings, while education in socialist ideology has produced noteworthy results. The life of the people has improved considerably. It goes on and on.
But this is more history
Yeah, exactly. It's
than
not
really
even a
values. I mean, what kind of values you heard?
It's really interesting.
What kind of values did you hear? Here in
The
this.
thing is, I mean, it is a little bit, but it's not really true.
You're right.
So,
I lived there.
I mean,
It's very capitalist.
of course, there is nothing about God or man, a revolution, we can do it. And so a bit like this, I don't understand a bit the socialistic view, if they are against it or for it. But,
As far as this is, they're very much pro-socialism.
yeah, but actually they are absolutely not socialists in China.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
Not really.
that's I don't know, but I think it's really good. This is the foundation of what we are, who a country is. So we need actually this preamble, and today I think people are no more aware of it. It's no more interesting. So nobody knows it. We don't learn it in the school. But I think it's really important that we understand what is the foundation of a nation. And so everybody has values described. This is our values. Let's say Switzerland, the greatness of a nation can be measured by the weakness of society, something like this. But that's a value that say who we are, what we want to do. So we describe us as taking care for the weak one, because this is the strength of us. But these are really important values that we can go on and on, and I think when you you speak about politics, and so that's really good. Address the constitution, going back and helping people to understand it, discuss about it. What are our values? So in the Bible, this would be the 10 Commandments, or they set our values, who we are, and we have only one God. We should not make an image. We should not misuse the name of the Lord. We should honor the Sabbath. We should honor father and mother, and we should not lie, and you should not steal, and we should not divorce, and all of that. I mean, these are the foundations summarized in this law. You should love your God, your Father, with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and your neighbor as well. I mean, this is the constitution, I would say, from the Bible. that it's that every country is now building up this common law that should be for everybody. And then, of course, we went through the constitution, and you saw that there the whole structure is in, so who's responsible to whom, and all of that regulated, and also the obligations and the rights, that we will talk more about today. Good. So should we go on with the teaching? Yes. Or do you have any questions? Can you open for me the yeah. Okay, we said this no, we already grammar you say that as we have people, land and law, and now we look to the law, and the law means that we have a common law what is represented in the constitution, and we will then see more the other laws that we have. Like we have in Deuteronomy, also the Ten Commandments are the constitution, and then we have the applied laws. Probably you remember that in the assignments, and these are then the law that we find in our law books that will describe how we can deal with this value of the constitution. So let us focus a bit more now on this human rights, on our duties and obligations and rights. Yeah. Also, a nation needs common principles and values, and this is like the fourth foundation of also the first one is the common law, the second one is the separation of power, and the third one would then be to have accountability, there is transparency, and the fourth one is really we need to have these principles, these common principles. So let's see what a nation have, or what we probably have. In our constitution in Switzerland, it says all are equal before the law. All people are equal before the law, man and women have equal rights. I think this will be as well in your constitution. I'm 100% sure that, I mean, it's one of as well, the human rights, right, the UN human rights also have that. So, but where does it come from? What do you think? Yeah, but can you give me a connection that so that okay, it's the Bible, but where is it from? Genesis, Revelation, or how can I see that in the Bible?
I mean, God created man and woman together in His image, therefore they are equal.
Yeah, I'm one of the foundation of it is really God created all of us. All right, this is the unity. If you are black or white or whatever, we all are God's children, and they make us unique. And as well, God made man and woman, and both are in the image of God. So, who was God? Was God a man or a woman? What do you think? What the Indians say?
Beside the point, I think. It's besides the point. Like, I mean, you can philosophize. Maybe there's an answer, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really matter. But I think it was both. Let's say he has both DNA, and he split himself in man and woman. But actually, he was not man, just man. He was both. He has everything. When man and woman represent the image of God, and God has to be both, and both is in God. And I think this makes us the unity. So we are both are image of God. We're both holy. That there is not man is holier, and only man can become priest. Only man this and that. That's in often religions that the man has a higher, because he is closer by God. He is the presenter of God. But this is not in Christianity. This is one of the really foundation. So we are all equal. So we have all equal, and therefore we all have equal rights. Another scripture probably fits to that. Is there something else? 10 Commandments. Yeah, I think it's also, it says you should honor father and mother. I mean, he also put both on the same level. So it's not that you have to obey more the father, more the mother. You can say that's silly, it's somehow tricky. But I think it's really important because in a lot of cultures it's different. That the man and women have different rights, and so I think in what we can see it's that the Bible makes no distinction between that, and as well meant in Jesus' time it was that the priests or man has more value than probably women, but this was not God created it like this. It was more a cultural thing that man received more values because he is more powerful. He is the one who is out doing business, or I don't know. But I think, let's say, can I say that probably the wife or the woman is not so strong as the man. We can see that, meaning some kind like giving birth to a baby, then probably women are much more strong or stronger than man. But we can see that what in the world happens, that's always the stronger take over the weaker. I mean, the physically strong, not mentally strong, not more the physical stronger, the one who has weapon, the one who is. We see this in every culture, that the strong take over the weaker, and so it's in God created man that he has physically more power, but he should not misuse it. So in Genesis it say that wife, Genesis 3, or the wife is looking for man, but the man is then ruling her. I mean, this came through the fall, that there was this problem that the stronger will rule over the weaker, but it should not be the case. But we see that in every culture that man and women then not have the same rights. And I think this is one thing that is in every constitution, and it's actually from the Bible, and it's the foundation of the Bible. When not we all made from God, then we have a problem. Let's say in this evolution theory. Also, when the evolution theory is right, what does it say? What does the evolution theory say?
We're all chance.
Yeah, we are how we are made through.
We all came through one cell.
Yeah, we came to one cell, but it was actually a natural process. And it involved what? What Darwin said in the title of his book? A natural selection, and what? The weaker is dying out and the stronger is surviving. Also, I mean, in a concept, when you have the foundation of evolution theory, then, I mean, Hitler didn't do something wrong. I mean, he just made, what does it say? This was Karl Marx's view. They say, okay, the weak will die anyway, so we just help them through a revolutionary process, and this gives them communists the right to kill all the people. Because when they anyway die out because they are weaker, then we focus on the strong. And this concept of evolution theory, we could never bring this. It has to be another source. And also when we look to nature, let's see nature, or the lamb, the lion is killing the lamb. In nature, it's the stronger will survive. And to take care of people and say, no, the stronger should not survive. They have equal right. It needs another source than just nature or the evolution theory. Yes, Catherine.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of, it's a forming thought. I'm just kind of thinking about how if the strongest will survive and it's natural selection, why was it that Hitler chose a wife which he said was the perfect wife, which was naive and stupid and just basically has no clue what's going on in the world. So I'm just trying to understand that.
But he as well, he was ugly. He was little, ugly. He was not an Aryan. I mean, the perfect race was the Aryan race, and he was not.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not consistent I think you cannot consistent doing something when it's against God. It's not possible. So it was ideology, and I mean there was a lot of hatred in Hitler and so against the Jewish because they were better. And I think he was a soldier in the First World War, and he was sitting together. I heard that sitting together in Versailles as they signed the contract that Germany have to pay all back this. And I think he stood up and said, I will give it back to you. But it's really not fair that now Germany has to pay all the debts for the war, because they were not the only one who were guilty. But anyway, I don't know. But this is a really good question. It's not consistent. And it was also Karl Marx was not consistent. Even he was so brilliant, but in the end step, he believed in an eternity. He believed in this, when we reach socialism, we can live forever. I mean, is this really scientifically? I don't think so. But it's a good question. Yeah. So you will find that, and you can then go in your constitution and try to find where is it and where you find this this law. Another one say parents shall educate and discipline the child according to their ability. I mean, the first who is responsible for the education of a child according to the Swiss constitution? Parents should educate and discipline. That's the foundation of. If it's the state today, that's a good question, Catherine. Or that's a good question, right? Because I think the state takes more and more over instead of empowering parents to educate the people. It's more that's another debate, but this is actually in our constitution. And when we look to the, let's say, the communistic manifesto, then it would be the state who controlling this. We will see that later. So, and protect his or her physical, mental, and moral development. That's the responsibility of parents. The children owe obedience to their parents. Did you hear them? What did I say? What is in the constitution?
To obey their parents, they owe obedience to their
Yeah,
parents.
what does it mean? So do we have that still today? I'm not so sure about that. I'm really not sure. But actually that would be in the constitution. It describes what the parents should do. And I think it's a really good application from the Bible, because it says that children should obey the parents. And it says that parents are responsible for the education. It says, so write this law to every child on the forehead, on the doors, on whatever. Probably you know that it's several times in Deuteronomy that we have the responsibility to give all the laws and all of that to our children. So the main responsibility is by the children and not by the state. But we all change that today, and the parents have less and less responsibility, but also they don't take it. Let's say I'm in politics, that's always the same debate. You say, okay, why should the state take over on this side? No, we don't want it, but on the other hand, say the parents don't take it. So a lot of parents are no more able to take care of the children. So then do you see? We cannot blame the state. Actually, the people itself, when they don't take the responsibility for the children, then it will end in the state, and then it ends in the dictatorship. Because when everything is in order or is given to you, then you are no more free. Good. International Switzerland, the right to have a family is protected and given. That's Switzerland, and now coming to family. And a human rights declaration is in Article 16. It's a man and woman without any limitation of race, rationality, or religions have the right to marry and found a family. So my question to you, what does it say? So last last year we had a huge debate with lawyers, and so really go back to that and find out what does it say. So what is a family according to that? According to that law, what is a family? As according to the first, in the Swiss constitution. So does it say a family is a man and a woman?
It's the right type of family. Just family isn't defined.
So when now this was the question. So our constitution don't say that the family is or marriage is between man and woman, but it says it. But because there are different interpretations of a law. First one is the historical interpretation, and you have to ask, what does the people thought in this time when they wrote it? So what do you think when they 1848 wrote this down? What was in their mind? What is a family?
Man and woman.
Yeah, one man and woman. Also historical-wise, it says it's a man and a woman because it was written 1848, and when you want to find an interpretation like in the Bible, you have to go back and think, what does it mean for these people in this time? Otherwise, you will not understand it. Does it make sense? So, and now the liberals are coming and say, no, it didn't say that. And then in the end, you need a lawyer to find out what is now the right interpretation. And this is really tricky, or the one who has the best lawyer and the best a lot of money will win the debate. It's really tricky because this is, should you take the literal, or let's say the literal, and it doesn't say man and woman. So going to the international, to the human rights, does it say man and woman? A family is man and woman. Does it say that?
No.
A marriage is between. Does it say that or not? What do you?
It says minimum.
Literally.
It says that they have a right to found a family. Men and women have a right to marry and find a family.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it has to be.
Yeah, it's actually, and this was do you see that it was the debate that we had with the lawyers, or what does it say? But when you go to a historic point, then of course it was man and woman. When here 1948 it was man and woman. So do you see that that's the trick? That's food for the lawyers. That's their daily bread, and they live from that to debate about all this kind of thing. But what does it say something else? What is really important, that what we used in our debates, it says something else about gender. What does it say? I'd say only man and woman. There is no other gender in it. So it's clear it's only man or woman. So when we then talk about the gender issue, then we can go back to the literally translation or interpretation, saying no, it's only man and woman. There is no third sex. But this is really complicated. So we had a debate about marriage for all in Switzerland, and this was the marriage for all. And the question is it allowed that homosexuals can marry, or is it not? So last year that we had the voting because it was allowed. The government, the parliament say yes, and there was a referendum, and there was a long debate. But 2022, the Swiss allowed marriage for all. And but actually, it was really just ideological, because we have you could already partnership. We already had partnership for homosexual partners. That means that they have almost the same rights, but they were not satisfied with only have the same rights. They want to have the same name and say we are also called a family. And so you see, it's just ideological. In the end, it didn't change really a lot. It was just that they wanted to I think they wanted to destroy that we can say that only family is only a man and woman. That was the main issue. But actually, we lost in the end. So it shall ensure the protection of. No, the problem was with election. It was that. So we as Christian party say, okay, when we lose, then we lose. I mean, what does it change? Actually, pragmatically, probably not. But the problem was another thing, because in Switzerland they often bind two laws together, and we vote for yes or no for just two laws. And so it was marriage for all, and the second one was a sperm donation for lesbian couple. Do you understand that? Sperm donation for lesbian couple. So lesbian couple have a problem with get a baby. Anyway, they can do sex with a man when they really want the baby, or what has to do? What is sperm donation the right way? There are a lot of questions, but actually they want to have sperm donation, and they put this in the same law, and I think they did it per purpose, because they knew that the sperm donation for a lesbian couple will never have a chance in Switzerland. And so they put every effort and all the communication about the marriage for all. And this was very hard then to stand up against that. But this that you have sperm donation of a lesbian couple, that's against the Constitution. And we stood up and say it's against the Constitution, but in the last we lost. But see here, the Constitution, it shall ensure that protection of human dignity, personality, and the family. Yeah, can you read? Really?
It shall ensure the protection of human dignity, personality, and the family. Procedures of medical reproduction may only be used if infertility or the risk of severe transmission of a serious disease when it cannot be cured in any other way. Not to produce certain characteristics in the child or to carry out researches.
Yeah, that's good. So what does it say? So when is sperm donation allowed?
Only in infertility or there's severe transmission of serious disease.
Yeah, okay. That's the Constitution. Now we make a law who allow sperm donation for actually everybody, or actually, lesbian couple, but in the end, it's, a man who marry cannot have a baby. That's clear. But actually, every woman can have sperm donation, and it's against the Constitution. Why do you think we don't want to have sperm donation for possible for everybody, but everybody can have that? What do you think? What would be the reason out of a biblical Christian worldview? So this is politics, and when you are in politics, you have to deal with that. You have to find out why. What is the value behind it? Why did they wrote that in a constitution? What do you think?
Well, it was written probably for like good intentions. It's like if people want to have kids, like assuming okay, a man and a woman want to have kids, but there's a severe something getting in the way, like infertility or something happened to them or something, then they have another way to do it.
Yeah, but why was it only for them and not for all?
I suppose in their time, because that's what was known. Like the expectation was only men and women. So
this is not from 1848.
Oh.
This was in 1970 or something, or even later a bit. But why they put it in? Because of the misusing of it. Because when you sperm donation, you can also test them, and you can with our DNA research, you can find out if do they have blue eyes, do they have this and this, and you can look for might have a sperm from a really athletic, nice, handsome guy like Graham is. No, but this is then it's choosing of a baby. So it was the dignity. Listen, the dignity is guaranteed for everybody. But when we can choose how somebody should be, then this is not more dignity. Dignity of people. Dignity of people is the foundation is we are all made in God's image. So God is the creator and not we. And when we start to create designer babies, then the dignity is no more given. So does it make sense for you? This is the reason why they put it 1970 around this time into the Constitution to protect the misusing of it, that people not start to create a designer baby. I mean, this is a big debate. I know in Canada, they have the sperm bank, they have these egg banks, and you can choose what you want, from which you want to create your baby. But we as a Swiss, we have these values that we say, no, we don't want that. So it was actually a law against the Constitution, and this is not just in this case. We create now a lot of laws that are actually against the Constitution. Like say abortion, I wrote in my SPCW, I wrote a paper about abortion, that this is against the Constitution. Because when in the Constitution say everybody has right of life and the death penalty is forbidden, then what is with why you will say that you can abort a child? When you abort a child, then you have to define. Also, we have in our laws, or when it's before 12 weeks, you have the right to abort it. When it's after, you need a testimony of a doctor. But actually, before 12, it's allowed. That means before 12, it's not a human, or it's not under the Constitution. But why can you say with 12 weeks you are not a baby? Before you are not a baby, or not under this right, and then you are under the right. Why you? I mean, that's arbitrary to say 12 weeks. And I know in New York it's up to the birth that you can abort a child. But this is against the Constitution. And when we start to do things against the Constitution, then we can smoke the Constitution. I mean, this is what we found 500 years ago, or in the Magna Carta, or the king cannot do everything. The people have absolute rights, and nobody can go over it. But we started doing the opposite. So this is politics, and therefore we need people, Christians in politics, who see that, who have the awareness to stand against it, to stand up against it. Because it's going the other way around when there are no more Christians in it who stay for it. Yeah, or you'd say this, can you read that for me, please? That's much nicer than my.
Each person assumes responsibility for himself and contributes to the accomplishment of the tasks in state and society.
Yeah, so that this self-responsibility, it's also from the Bible. And I hope you still know that from Deuteronomy, the law says that everybody's responsible for themselves. So you cannot blame your father, or you have to take responsibility for yourself. So this is things that you find in the Constitution. Or every human being has the right to live. The death penalty is forbidden. Or I already mentioned that. But you probably find that in every of your constitution as well, probably not in the Chinese. I think you will not find that in the Chinese. Because what the Chinese are doing is really the opposite. But this is the foundation, or everybody has the right to live. And when we start...
Yeah.
But see, I think it's the foundation. And when we start to go under this foundation, then our culture will collapse. With this abortion, with this sperm donation for lesbian couples. I mean, I cannot mention everything here, but we do a lot of this law to undertake our values that we actually have created. Or this is, can you read that, please, somebody?
Permanent, just let it go.
Permanent Sunday work shall only be authorized if it is necessary for technical or economic reasons.
That's one. The next one, please.
The cantons may designate a maximum of 4 Sundays per year on which employees may be employed in sales without authorization. Within 2 weeks, at least one whole Sunday must be released as a weekly rest day immediately before or after the rest day period, daily rest period.
So this is not in the Constitution, that is in the Federal Act, labor law. Just in the Constitution, it's just, this is an application of the dignity of man. So where does it come from? What do you think? The Bible, from where?
From where it talks about the Sabbath.
Yeah. And what do you think why God said we should hold the Sabbath?
For rest, not to, we're supposed to have a day of rest.
Yeah, that we have rest, that we can be calm, and also it's a human right of protection. And so every owner of a business, he has to make sure all of that. So actually, the shops should not be open in Switzerland, but it's coming more and more. But the idea was that everything is closed on Sundays. But now the liberals, they want to have open, and they want to have 24 hours shops. But this was the protection of the people, because we need rest. And we are not just business-driven people. And I know when I grew up, when I was young like you, and so, the farmers in our village, so, they were not allowed on Sunday to do farming. And in a church, it was really strong controlled. If somebody would farm on a Sunday, it was a high standard. But today, I think everybody's doing something, and I think this was also in the Constitution, coming from the Bible, to protect the people. So let's now take a break, and then we will come next. So do you have a question? Any question, or is it okay? Then let's do a break. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Yeah, let's take 30 minutes break. Yeah, Swiss time will come back 11:15. Thank you.
Maybe you can ask why this is like this. It has actually nothing to do with the border. But the problem is that let's say, the biblical Christian worldview principles that came from America and our West is in the South, and in the North they took the atheistic worldview. And so what they did, they killed the Christian, they threw with the tank over the Christian, 100,000 Christians get killed in this time. And Christianity became forbidden, and still today it's forbidden to be a Christian. And there is a death penalty if you convert to Christianity, or when you out yourself as Christians. And so for us, we didn't know that before we went, or before we did our research, and actually we found out as we already were on the way, they actually, because we went before internet. So how can you get to information when you don't have internet? So probably you never thought about that. But you have to go to a library, and which library has something called North Korea in Switzerland. It was really not easy to find really a lot out about this country. But anyway, we went there, and then we heard about the history, and there was before 1954 in 1954, this was 90% Christians lived in North Korea, 90%. And then, they have big churches, and big revival was there, and so for us was all the question, why can it happen that all the Christians suddenly have nothing to say anymore, get persecuted by the state. When 90%, it's almost, you can say almost everybody is Christian. Why can it happen like this? So what's the source? What's the reason? And we did some research, found out that there was no really any interest in the political system of what's going on. It's the same, you can say the same by Hitler, and the church was not really aware what's going on, and some churches supported Hitler as well. I think we have to stand up. And this is Nigeria. Now you know what's going on in Nigeria, that the Muslims are taking over the country. The Muslims have a strategy. They know what they are doing. They are really strategic coming. And so I heard from Vishal Mangalwadi, I didn't prove that, but I believe him that, most of the politicians who have something to say, they are already Muslims. And so then you don't have to wonder why they let this Boko Haram and all these things, the Muslims extremists, let them do what they do. And there's a lot of things. So I think when we not stand up as Christian, then this is the consequences. And we cannot live in a neutral state, even it's going up or down. And we have to become active as Christians to really get involved in our political system. But as you know, it starts in our family, it starts in our business, it starts in our communities. And don't think I can now change the country when you have not your personal life in order. So just a bit encouraging. I hope you could follow the debate. Are there any questions for that so far? Some questions from you? Yeah, we can go to another law. And this law here is everyone has the right of private property. So why is it in a constitution, and where is it coming from? The Bible. And where? From where? Where does it say it in the Bible?
Mostly like Leviticus as well as Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Leviticus and Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy, yeah. Where? Do you know when?
Look it up.
There's various laws about like the right to land owning and.
But the foundational law is you should not steal. Or as when there is no private property, then makes no sense to say that you should not steal, because in socialism the idea is that there is no own property, and therefore stealing is there is no question about stealing. So actually, instead of giving a law you should not steal, you can abolish the source of stealing, the private property. And this was the idea of the communists. Or they say, okay, we cannot hold this stealing, so let allow everybody to steal, and so it takes the source away. Then everybody can. There is no law. Or
Leviticus 25 is where it first says about someone calling the land theirs, or the land is mine. So the idea of private property. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So you see that Karl Marx's idea of this was God is the problem of our society, he said. So the problem is that all of us, we think in God's view. So when private property is coming from God, because when there is no giver of private property to you, then what did you do? When nobody gave it to you, then what did you do?
Don't have ownership of it. So.
No, when nobody gave to you something and you have something, so where do you have it from? Yeah, you stole it. So actually, that was Karl Marx's idea. Right? But the source of private property is God. God is the giver to you. So actually, you are the steward. The actually owner is God, but you are the steward, and it's yours. and you look to it. So and Karl Marx said, yeah, I mean, as long as we believe in God, we will have private property. But if you abolish God, then this will also disappear, because everybody who has something, claim has something, he stole it. He stole it from the nature, he stole it from the community. So, and therefore it's allowed that we can fight against everybody who claim to have something, to kill all the people in position, and so, because it's not allowed to have something. But so let us look a bit closer. What does it make with us by forbid God to steal, practically? So, and people want quickly income, but I think stewardship builds also character. I mean, that is really important. We think, okay, we want to have something, and then we take it, what we can. But of course, no, don't take it. You have to slowly build up, because it's building character. That it's building stewardship. When you not have own property, that you cannot really build your character, because when it's not you not take the same responsibility for it. You can observe that when there is a community and nobody is really responsible for it, and something is broken, then yeah, it's broken, or he's responsible. So you have to know who is responsible. And for God is to give you private property, say you are responsible for that. He say you are the father of a family, so you are responsible for it. I really believe so. In the Bible it say man is the head of the family. Why? Because he's responsible for it. It's not that he decide everything. He should be a servant like Jesus was for the community, but he's the head. He's the main responsible for it. When there is no responsibility, then what the man say, or what the wife said in the garden, man was it. The man say, or the man said the wife was it in the garden. The wife say no, the snake was it. So when there is not really say that's mine and I'm responsible for it, then the tendency is always to blame the others. So I think it's built character, that you have something, that you possess something and take care of it. And therefore, I believe God say you shouldn't steal. Or actually, if he use the value in an economy. Let's say you have a mobile phone, somebody steal your mobile phone, and then what he can do with the mobile phone? Yeah, I mean that. He can do that.
Find all your information then?
No, I mean what is a thief doing with when he steal mobile phone? What he's doing? Yeah, selling it. So he can sell it, but he will sell it to a deeper price on a black market, and probably it was 200. Let's say it was $250. So he sell it for $120. But it's a loss of value in the sense that the mobile phone lose value with stealing. So the value was presented with 240, and because he steal it, he cannot sell it for this price, and so it's has less price. So in a GDP thing, in the gross domestic product, it will lose value through stealing. So because also the thief cannot use it for you, it has more use because you wanted to have this feature, you want to actually this design and all of that, and another probably not, and so it loses value as well. So it's not about just the material thing, it's also the information. So when he's stealing, so he cannot use your information, mostly. I mean, there are some thieves who want to have your information, but generally they want to make money with it, to selling it. So, but it's a loss of information and data. For you, it was very important, but the thief cannot use it. And this was value. This was, let's say, money. I mean, it cost you a long time to build up the whole schedule that you have, the all addresses, you have to search for people, you will lose relationship because you cannot call to people, you cannot do this. So it's increasing a lot of values just because you are stealing. Does it make sense? So stealing is not just what we think in first hand, it will destroy a lot. Or I mean the idea of the stronger survive. I was the CEO in a roller skating park, and I dealt a lot with young people, especially from the Balkan, and their worldview was different than the Swiss worldview. So they stole a lot. They stole a lot in my business, and I always had quarrelings with them. Their view is this: they say, "Okay, when here is a mobile phone, I can take it. Because when you not take care of your mobile phone, then it's your mistake that you put the mobile phone, let's say, on this chair here." No, it's like, no. It's not when you have the opportunity to take it, it's not allowed to take it. And this world is wrong because God says you should not steal, and what is not yours, you shouldn't take, even you have the opportunity, even nobody is seeing it. You just don't have to touch it. Does it make sense? That's a valuable word. But when nobody is looking at it, then their worldview was, okay, we can take it. When nobody, it's his mistake that he leave it. So what I did, then he put his mobile phone next to me on the chair. So I took his mobile phone and said, now it's mine. So what do you think he said to me? What he said? Did he accept that? Not probably not. He said, I will kill you, man. Give me back my mobile phone. I said, but this is your worldview. You told me your worldview. I just apply what you said. I'm not for it, but when this is your worldview, I just applied your worldview. But see, it's not consistent. When you think it's allowed to take what you have the opportunity to do, but this makes something with the other person. In every case. So, and corruption will become a culture. When you leave that system of stealing and not react to it, then it becomes a culture. Then he will steal that, and then he say, okay, my mobile phone gets stolen. Okay, I have the right to take another one. or so, and so it's become a culture of corruption that you think the only way to survive is when I steal, because everybody's stealing me, so I have to steal others. And when I'm not doing that, then I will not survive. I'm in the end the one who will lose everything. So, and corruption also then stop businesses and investment, because think about that somebody is they want to build up a business in Nigeria, and he know when I do that here, I first have to come to police, then I have to pay them first for a bribe, and then have to pay them. Then he will say, okay, no, I will go to another country where I don't have to pay all these extras, because it's cheaper to produce it there. So the people will not invest in something where there is corruption and injustice. When you not can make sure that your property is protected, then you will not go and invest there. I heard a missionary who told me the story in Mozambique that a lot of land was not used. And then the missionary said to these people, so why do you not produce something here and let plant an apple tree or so? And they say, I mean, when I do that, then everybody is coming and takes the fruit before I can earn the fruit, harvest the fruit. And the problem is, it belongs to nobody. It belongs to the community. So when I do something, then I do the work for all the others. And so when you have this habit in a country and their own property is not protected, then it's really hard. And so I think it's very important for a country that you have a law book where it says what belongs to whom. When this is not regulated, then it's very hard to And so in every country there is a law book, we clearly regulate this building belongs to Wawan, this belongs to me, this belongs to him, because it's very important to have this private property. Good. People think they can only have more when they steal, or then the culture is come, and then you go to a country and this is a corrupt culture, and everybody think I have to do it. Or people get angry and become furious. So I never saw somebody, when somebody gets stolen, they say, okay, it's stolen. Make something with you. Or have you once the experience that somebody stole something from you? And this makes you angry. It makes you at least say injustice. Or you stand up, you have to fight. Trust in one another get lost. If I know that somebody's stealing here, then I had that in a team, that somebody stole in a team. And this, I can tell you, is really hard. Because to find out who was the thief, you don't know. Everybody could be the thief, but everybody is nice, so who is the thief? But it destroyed your relationship. It destroyed the whole team. You are no more doing it together. And people have to hide and are in danger. So when we probably saw a film of bank robbery, or there are 5 people rob a bank. And see, when you can rob a bank, then why you not can rob the other robbers? When you have the worldview that the strongest can take what he can take, then how can you trust the one who robbed the bank with you that he will not rob you? And you see this in the film, so it's a typical theme of the film, that they start to fight against another, cannot trust anymore. So if you rob with somebody something, then you have to know when he can rob that, then he also can rob me. It's just a question of the circumstances. When the pressure is strong enough, then he will take it from you as well. So when you not have the value not to do it, then you will do it when the time is there to do it. So we cannot trust these people. We should stop to doing that, because it destroys whole trust and will bring us in a big danger. And then in the end, the cost of production is higher than actually the product. Or that when people can rob, then you build a wall around the house, you build cameras, you have a guard, and you know that in America and in Africa it's very common. Or you have the guard, you have everything is protected, and in the end you pay more for all of that than for actually to deliver the product. So stealing has a lot of consequences. And when you don't have, then you cannot give. But so the idea of socialism, everybody has nothing. I mean, think about that. We can only give when we have. And so when often people say, yeah, the rich people, and blame all of them. But actually, when you don't have something, you cannot give something. Before you can give, you have to earn it, you have to receive it, and you have to have it. So that's awfully a wrong view from socialists. And it reduced productivity. About the apple tree. When everybody can take it, then you will not do it, you will not work, because you say, I work for all the others. And it takes out creativity, because you not think, how can I do it? Let's say in a socialistic country is not allowed to do the job better than the others and earn more money than the others. So it reduced the creativity, it reduced the production, and it reduced self-responsibility. People misuse people for their own gain. It can also mean go in this direction to steal, that you can employees and you don't pay them, or that's actually stealing. You don't pay the people what they do for you. Slavery, or would go in this, and this is not a way of stealing. So I think we have to be very careful with that as well. And in every county, that the Bible say, when you work, then you should have something for it. Or too many taxes can also be stealing. We might not, also the state can steal from the people, and there is always the question how much it is. But when you take too much, then the people will go into black market. they will go do their business in another country. So just say, oh, the state can take as much as you want. It's not good. So it's really, in a political system, we always debate about these taxes. But when the state is taking too much taxes, then it is in a big danger. And you see that then the productivity go down, creativity, the responsibility, they go in foreign countries, and they here in Switzerland, they lost all the jobs because the production is in somewhere where we don't have to pay that much taxes. It's not so in Switzerland, you don't pay so much taxes, so therefore a lot of business coming. But see, I think it can also be stealing when a state asks too much taxes of the people. And we had also voting about it. They say that when you inherit, let's say you inherit 1 million, then you have 50% you have to give to the state. I was absolutely against this. I think it was by 10 million or so, not by 1 million, by 10 million. Because the problem is let's think, I mean, when somebody inherits 10 million, like you inherit the business of your father, and this has a money value of 10 million, then he has to take a loan to pay 5 million to the state that he can do the business. I mean, it's not absurd. That's really absurd. And then I think the state is taking too much. And we voted for it. Also, in the end, the voting was just about 20%. But even 20%, I think it's not really right. So we voted about it and we won. Also, and they didn't won. Because I think when one has 10 billions on his bank account, I think we can think about that. But even that, it's very dangerous. Is the state allowed to just take the property from someone? And this is a really difficult thing. But I think in a constitution, it was clear it was not allowed. But today, the state talking about this more and more and more. Good. Do not be ready to pay the costs is also stealing, I would say. I mean, people in WOWAM, in Christianity is very common. You always bargaining about the price. But see, the people want to come to our school and say, can I have a discount? Can I have a discount? Okay, you can have a discount, but somebody has to pay for it. And who is the one who pay for it? And just always bargaining about the price, running for the best price, I think it's stealing. Because it makes you also dependent on others. And I think God's view is become independent. He wants to give you something, that you have something, that you can give something, and not just take from others. And so a leader is ready to pay the price. That's my statement. When you're not are ready to pay the price, you are not a leader. But we have to come to this point. Think about somebody has to pay it. When you have no money, and say you have to pay for me because I have no money, then, but the one has to find, let's say, we have to find somebody who will pay for you. So why not you can find somebody who will pay for you? Why should this? And this makes just you get independent. You get dependent on this. You are not independent. And I think we should learn to think about that. To buy only the cheapest thing is also always running for the best price. But sometimes the best price is not good. It's bad quality. It's child labor involved in it, and therefore it's cheap because they could produce it with children. I mean, just looking for the price could be stealing. And there are rather take another woman and receive a baby. I don't think that's stealing. You steal the right from another, because the wife belongs to you and not to anybody else. This is the view in socialism. No?
What do you mean by take another woman? As in divorce the other woman and then?
No, I mean you have just, let's say you have just sex, or I mean divorce. But divorce, yeah, I think divorce can happen. I mean, we are all human, and you know Jesus allowed that as well. But I think when you take just a woman from another man, then this is stealing. And then you have a baby, and I mean the baby is belongs to whom? And you steal also the dignity of this baby or of this child. And a lot of African nations and also other nations, a lot of street kids who when parents cannot look to them anymore, and this is stealing. This is stealing. I think you only can take your wife and not any from anybody else. So stealing from the next generation can also be one that you pollute the land. This is also in Deuteronomy, or that you pollute the land and next generation have to pay for your damage, or you destroy it and the next generation cannot use it. So actually you can also steal from the next generation. You have to know everything what you have, somebody paid for it. Everything what you have. So somebody paid for it. And you can either pay now for the next generation, or you can steal and the next generation have to pay for your damages. So you can say that the taxes, or somebody have to pay the taxes. So when you not do it, then the next generation has to do it. So, but this is all. I have one more. Don't give all the information. Also, this can also be stealing when you don't say all the truth, not every word. And you want to trick somebody, do not give him all the information and hide something. This also can go in the direction of stealing. So, but do you see, there are a lot of application of you should not steal. And I think this is a fundament in our law, in the Constitution, is therefore in, because private property is one of the source of really for functional, sustainable population. And this, I think, is the main point why socialism, we come to the communistic manifesto, didn't work, because it abolished the creativity, self-responsibility, and it created to build up the character, and stealing was allowed, and all of that. So it actually it didn't function. This socialistic system built on atheism. Good. Some questions to that? Okay, we can read this in United States. Graham, can you read that?
Yes. Do you swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah, this is before the court that they swear that. So I put it in breaks, brackets, the so help you God, because you don't have to say it anymore. But this was the original thing. So that you say everything, that you only say the truth, and that you really say nothing else than the truth. So, and let's law come to England, where you can say that.
Yeah. I swear by Almighty God, or another, that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So if we see the bracket, Almighty God, you can use something else there. It's not the requirement anymore that you use that. So then the affirmation.
That I do solemnly and sincerely and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So where does it come from? What do you think?
From the biblical value of honesty and transparency.
When you take a Bible scripture, or coming back to the laws.
Shall not lie.
Yeah, you should not lie. I think these are things from the Bible, but is with this lying, that's a problem. Or because you cannot, I cannot say now here, you should not lie. I mean, I don't know your motivations. I don't know exactly what's going on. So we need an absolute point, absolute truth, where you have the obligation to. And this was my example with the farmer and the butcher, or the fear of God. When there is no more fear of God, then what you say, I should not lie. What does it mean when nobody is controlling me? I have no accountability to someone. And even another law say you should not covet. Or even more, how can a lawyer say you covet? I mean that it needs this reference point where you can have to give accountable to. So this was all built on that, and therefore it was, I swear in the name of God, of the Almighty God in it. So when this disappeared, then you can see that also the whole about the truth will disappear. So what is truth? So is it just your own idea of what is truth, or is there an absolute truth where you are responsible to? So actually it makes no sense anymore when you take out the gods of this law. So this is about the laws. So I mean, there are many others, and you can then also go into. I think you can go quickly to your constitution and find a law out of it who would fit with the biblical values. Is it good? And then you can present it to me. Like we do the same thing, one from India, one from Malawi, one from Ibadan. We take China, Netherlands, and England, and Great Britain. No, United Kingdom, I want to say, and Canada. It's okay, I give you 5 minutes just to research that and then find something and give it to me. Now this time with England.
Yeah.
Did you find something?
Yes, I did. So I was looking at the relationship between God, the church, and also politics. And one of
it's out from the Constitution, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those from the Constitution is the 39 Articles that were actually recorded and ratified in the year 1562. They were originally only in Latin, but this basically is saying that from the civil magistrate, they're asserting that chief government is involved only in the realm of England, and it belongs to the crown and to God, and that the Bishop of Rome has no jurisdiction in the realm of England, and that God is the only one that serves the country as ruler, and then the king underneath, and that the word of God is the basis of all law.
Oh, that's good. So this is somewhere inside. It's not in the beginning, because this is really fundamental.
Yeah.
I think very
1562.
Mm-hmm. 1562. So wow, and this is still very available, still valuable today.
I believe so, but it's kind of covered up.
Because you changed the constitution several times.
Yeah. So I believe it's been what's it called? It's been remandated or revisited and kind of updated for now. So I mean, you wouldn't see that the word of God is basis of all.
You know, this is today in your constitution. This is what you say.
I think it's the history of the Constitution. I think it's just been reinstated using slightly different words, but it's the basis of our Constitution.
But this would be interesting. So what changed, or
Yeah.
what is now really?
I was finding it hard to find actually the difference there, with the changes. I wasn't getting a clear search.
Yeah. But it's good. Thank you. Okay, let's go to Canada.
You go first.
Or the Netherlands.
I just found all the laws about like how the different places are to be represented. So like the States General shall represent the entire people of the Netherlands. It's very similar. They have like 2 houses. And yeah. And I think that comes from, like the place where Moses like breaks up the Israelites, and has like the leader of, I forget the numbers, like the 10s or 50s that all come.
That's good. Otherwise, you have 2 houses in the parliament, the upper and the under. Or how do you say it?
I'm not exactly sure how it works.
So one is the same in England. Most of the country have this, also China not. But it means that there in England, one house is the representative of the lords. So and the other one is the House of Commons.
Yeah.
You say, so they are the representative of the people.
Yes.
So the lords. Here in Switzerland, we have the representative of the states, but we have states, little states, and we have big ones, and actually this they all have the same vote. But then we have also the representative of the people, where the majority of the people are represented. So it's the same in England, or the same. I think it's the same in Netherlands. That one is the representative of the states or the districts. One is the representative of the people. I think so. That's normal. Okay, thank you. So let's go to India. What did you find?
The Indian political system is, we got freedom in August 15, 1947.
Sorry, what did you found something? Or what did you say? Yeah, please come in front, near to the microphone.
We got freedom, independence in 15 August 1947. So after that, the British rule came to an end. So after the British rule came to an end, India was parted into 2 separate regions. One was majority of the Muslims were lived in one place, majority of Hindus lived in one place, and some Christians are there. And after that, Pakistan, dominion of Pakistan came. So large people were moving from Pakistan to India, like India to Pakistan. So it happened, and we got our first prime minister as Jawaharlal Nehru became the first prime minister. And 1950 India became a democratic country. And after that also 1962, 1967, some collapse, chaos happened, like religious violence, terrorism, regional separatist insurgency, something happened like that. So resulted in wars. Many wars happened after that between Pakistan and India in the time of 1962 and 1967. And 1974, India became a nuclear weapon state, researching the first nuclear test in 1974. And we are here in 1980, 1990, and we are here now in 2000.
So, but this is more a bit about history. Or where was the value in that? Or it was more about the history, or did I not understand everything? Yeah, I think, but it's not so about values or obligations or rights.
What was your original question?
My question is, what I present about you should not steal, you should not murder, you should that you have that you bring. But it's okay. I think it's a very crucial thing for India. I mean, they became independent from England or Great Britain or UK. And then became an own country, and then it was split in Pakistan and India, and the Muslims, or they could no more live in India, they had to flee to Pakistan, the Hindus had to flee to, there were millions of people who fled, and they put it in the constitution that they have the right to live there, they had the right to live there. Yeah, this is an interesting history, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to really dig into it. And my question was more really to find out where are principles, Christian principles that you can find in your constitution. But thank you.
I'm sure about mine.
Yeah, Canada?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Canada.
I was struggling to find something for a bit, but at least from a bit of a unique angle that's in there just to protect foreigners and refugees. So of course, like the Bible one, about sojourners and foreigners had rights in the Hebrew land; they had to be protected, and these things. And so the Refugee Act of Canada, with respect to refugees, we say that to recognize the refugee programs in the first instance are about saving lives and offer protection to the displaced and persecuted, and to fulfill Canada's international legal obligations with respect to refugees and affirm Canada's commitment to international efforts to provide assistance to those in need of resettlement, to grant as a fundamental expression of Canada's humanitarian ideals fair consideration to those who come to Canada claiming persecution, to offer safe haven to persons with well-founded fear of persecution based on race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership of a particular social group, as well as of those at risk of torture or cruel and unusual treatment or punishment. So there's a few more to go on, but the idea that, in Leviticus there was a lot of protection for foreigners, and Deuteronomy I think as well, but especially then, highlight that foreigners were welcome in the land. Of course, the Israelites were supposed to be separate from them in belief and everything, but they protected the foreigners, and so that's also, I think, a basis that Canada sees their protection of our foreigners.
Yes, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Yeah. Okay, let's go to Malawi.
Yeah, if I heard right, you said we should find two laws that you can also find in the Bible, with the Constitution, that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we came, there is a law to do with property rights. That is Article 28 of the Constitution of Malawi, where it says no person shall be arbitrarily deprived of property. You see, so we find that in the Bible, Deuteronomy 5:19 says, "You shall not steal." Right. So another will be Article 60 of the Constitution of Malawi, where it says right to life. So in the Constitution it says every person has the right to life, and no person shall be arbitrarily deprived of his or her life. So in the Bible, according to Deuteronomy 5:17, it says, "You shall not murder."
Yeah, that's very good. Very good. Yeah, and I think these two laws are mainly in every constitution. But let's say to the first one in Malawi, when you think about this corruption, I mean, you have to work a lot in that. You have to change that because it became a culture. Good, let's go to Ibadan. Did you find something out in Ibadan?
Hello, Ibadan. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, in the moment, your microphone is open, but we cannot hear you. Yeah, okay, we go on. We go on, but we will look now a bit more to the political structure and how a political system is built up. We have until now the four foundational things. I hope you remember that. It's the first is what is for building up a law like a stable country. The first one is
Common law.
a common law.
Separation of powers.
Yes, separation of power.
Yes.
Accountability.
Responsibility, accountability, transparency, and the next one. The last one would be
Common principles and values.
yeah, common principle. So I would not say that it's only for, or but I think that these are fundamental things. And when we ask, is a country have this or not, is a good laws or not, then we have to look to that. We have to, and I think it's not just for a country. This principle would also fit for a business, and also for a community like Wawan. We have values. You know, we have values. We want to have a clear structure, responsibility, transparency. We have separation of power, and we have also a common law, and that's God. So every business has this, and we learned that from Jürgen Gerber on Monday that these businesses they train the businesses to create first the values. Did you hear that? First the values before to discuss about all the other things. Do you believe the same thing? Do we all have the same common values? And then we build on that. There's this tree, or we build on these values, and not just we do things just to please the customers, or I don't know. I think it's really, really important for a sustainable long-term business, community, nation, or just as well a family. Good, but now we are in the debate of political systems, so look a bit to the political systems. First of all, there is a distinction with the common law versus the civil law. So which countries have a common law? What do you think? Canada has what? Common law or civil law? And the UK, what do you think?
I guess a civil law. But I also don't really know exactly what that is.
I don't know.
India?
Civil law.
I don't know.
You don't know. So, do you want to know?
Yeah.
As a generally, I don't know it from every country, but generally, civil law. In continental Europe and in South America, they have the civil law. The civil law is, and in the common law there is in the US, in North America, and England, and all the common law countries. So this is, they have the common law, and you can then check by yourself exactly what kind of system you have. But this is a crucial difference between the countries. But the thing is also as well that it come more and more together, because more and more these systems are coming closer together. But for 100 years ago, they were really different, because there are more laws are made already, and so they actually have a lot of laws through the common law already, and we have made a lot of laws through the parliament. Yes.
What is the civil law and what is a common
Now,
law?
I explain that. So let's say in America, we have a joke that, or we read news from America that McDonald's, that somebody took a coffee in McDonald's and drove the car, and then he threw the coffee over his can, and then he made an accident, and then he excused McDonald's, and that then they made the coffee too. I mean, yeah, I probably heard that. I mean, a story, I mean, it's, for us Swiss, we think that's so stupid. Nobody would have any idea to excuse McDonald's for something like this. Or excuse.
Not
like,
accuse,
Accuse.
accuse them of, like they come with a lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid. But in America, it's possible because they have a common law. So in a common law system, they have the McDonald's have to prove that it's not against the law. In a civil law system, you have to prove that it's against the law. That also the one who excused the other have to prove it. And in a common law system, the one who get excused has to prove it. So actually, in America, you can excuse everybody, and there are. It's normal that they have these lawyers or the lawyers. They do advertising and look for what's happening in social media and so. And then when they find such a story like McDonald's, they go for that because they earn the money with it. But it's silly for me. That's silly. It has not just to do with the different system, but you can see the weaknesses in some systems. That yeah.
So you said common law means you can accuse everybody.
Yeah, let's. Also, the first is coming from the Roman law. I mean, the Roman law was the first one. They had a law, like Paul. Probably you know Paul from the Bible. What did he do? Where do you see that? That he pointed to a law.
Yeah, he was being arrested and he said, I'm a Roman citizen.
Yeah. So this was the Roman the first, so they had some laws, and you could go to the law and say that was the law. So, and then the canon system, that's the system of the Catholic Church, what they built up, and then the Code Civil, that's from the French Revolution, from Napoleon mainly. To have, then you need a law, you need a constitution, everything is built on that. So that's the continental Europe or the civil law coming from. So the common law is coming from the English king in the 7th century. So it's a bit more this Bible approach that Moses was there and the people come and brought the issue before Moses. And so the two parties came and brought it before, and then Moses had to make a decision. So here, in a civil law is based on a law, and here is based on justice, or these two people bring the arguments, and then actually the lawyer will make the law. So also here, the legislative is the only source of the law. So in a civil law in Switzerland, the weakness as well in a civil law is there is a murder happen, and when there is no written law against this crime, then we cannot excuse him. Do you see? So it's actually, you need first to make a law that you can excuse somebody. Otherwise, he is not guilty. So that means we have this suicide, euthanasia, how do you pronounce it? That's when elderly people kill themselves.
Suicide.
Oh,
Euthanasia.
Euthanasia.
My pronunciation is euthanasia. Yeah. So this was then we a lot of people came into Switzerland to die because we had no law against it. But the problem is, before you can excuse somebody or an organization to kill people, like they gave them drugs or do something that they die, or actually not active but passive, or they give the pills and they take the pills by themselves, not by the doctor. And so we call that passive. But when you don't have a law, then you cannot excuse So first, the parliament has to debate and make a law, and in Switzerland, direct democracy took a long time. And so, but in a common law, it's really different. They come before the judge, he brings his argument, and the judge is then do what is according to our constitution, or I mean the law that was did before, he find an answer. And actually, then this is called the case law, or he judge according to the case law. And the case law is actually then the law, but actually the lawyer making the law in the parliament is more for controlling, but the lawgiver is actually the lawyer. So in America, now we have the debate about abortion, probably know, and now it was in 1970, I think, that the Supreme Court decided it's allowed to do abortion, and now it's kept, and so the Supreme Court already said that it's against the Constitution. Do you know that? So he is doing now the law, and he makes this decision, and now it's made. It would not happen in Switzerland because the parliament will debate, and actually we in the end can vote for it or against it. Do you see this different? But as more case falls are made, as more they have also a civil law, the common law. When you have more cases, then it's more and more clear what would be the outcome, and therefore they come closer together. So it's based on a written law and common law. The people brought the case before the king. Only the written law counts here. Man is involved, or it's not just the written law; it's the man is involved, and it's actually more human, I would say, the common law. It's more human because here is just this one, and they look exactly, and even they can know that morally they do absolutely wrong, but when it's according to law, it's not like this, and the lawyer can twist it somehow, they can win the case. So in a common law, it's more that the king can based on moral, or the king, the lawyer, based on the judge, based on his moral understanding, he has more flexibility to be human. Do you see that?
Yes, so with laws then, so I don't know, like say like a murder case. So in common law, usually, you can, based off of perhaps how the murder was done or how it took place, the person given the punishment can be for a certain amount of time. Whereas in civil law, is there okay, if a murder happens in this way, then there's this many years that the person has to be, or if it's done this way, it has to be this certain amount of time? Like, is there a law for all these different types of things?
No,
or is...
no, it's mainly how do you mean now the penalty? How?
Yeah, does the penalty exact?
It's another other thing, but yeah, it's more the high of the penalty. It's a different thing, but I think more about the accusation, or that, and okay. Here, also in Switzerland, we have a lot of debate, let's say in murder. So how is the maximum, or and to say, let's say somebody raped a lot of people. So should he be closed for eternity, or should he be closed for 25 years? There is a maximum, but there is always then a flexibility by the lawyer, by the judge,
okay,
and by the one who did the judges.
So then, for example, then if there was a small crime committed, someone stole something from a store, and the maximum was 5 years in prison, then it's up to the judge to where within those 5 years.
Exactly. There's always flexibility in it, but it's actually, he cannot say when it's not actually forbidden to, in the law it's not forbidden to steal in a shop, then he cannot accuse him, even if it's absolutely morally wrong.
Gotcha, makes sense.
Yeah, and so there are differences, like with this suicide, that you see is really actually conflicts, or that you not first have to create a law that you can then really fight against injustice or so. Good. The civil law protects the state, the constitution, the public. So I mean, and the common law will protect the citizens. That's the idea. or by common law, the people come together and the one who has more right will win, or the one who is right will win. By the other laws, just it has to be according to constitution or the laws, and has to fulfill that, and it's exactly according to that. So and I was involved in that. I showed you about the sperm donation, about this thing. Then you quarrel about the right interpretation of the constitution, finding the right thing and the right. The people who are really smart can find a way to twist and so on. Yeah, people have to prove that they are against the law, and here people have to prove that it is not against the law. So the civil law, you always have a law of foundation, and you have to prove they did it against the law. And so here, the other side common law, you can accuse everybody, and the one who is accused has to prove that he was not against the law, or he was not against the constitution and so on. Good. Here's in the civil law, interesting is a split between public and private law. And there is no split about private and public and private law. So public law means the state is accusing somebody, and private law means that you accuse another person. So why is it now, this came also through the French Revolution, Napoleon, the split between public and private law. So why is it like this? What do you think? So probably you heard that politicians have parliamentary immunity. Did you hear that? You never heard that? No?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Also, mean when you are in parliament, you cannot be excused. Also, you cannot be, somebody cannot, not somebody, but the state cannot excuse you.
Accuse.
Yeah.
Excuse is like
You're excused from the bar.
Thank you.
Accused.
So I can accuse a parliamentarian, but the state cannot. And this might mean because in a lot of states, so then the government is putting opposites in prison, and so they have a protection that not the state can they put people in prison or parliamentarians or the opposites. So so actually they have a license to kill. Let's say like this. No. But in England, so James Bond has a license. Well, they because the state cannot accuse them in the first hand. So, but they can lose it. They can lose it, but only the parliament is deciding about that somebody can lose it when there is really a crime. So I think in Donald Trump's case, this was the point. And I'm no more up to date exactly what now is the point, but there was the question, is he losing his immunity or not? So, but I don't know exactly the update. But this is when he has the immunity, as long the parliament is not deciding for or against him. So this is coming from the civil law, but also now in the common law, like Americans, so they have it as well. Yeah.
So for example, like with the Khmer Rouge, the ruler can't be taken to prison, can't be accused of crimes until his term is over.
Yeah,
Okay.
somehow, yes. I mean, there can be the international law, like Putin, but Putin, so that he is now accused by the International Court in Den Haag. And so he is now, he has no more this immunity, international. But in his country, of course, he is not. And this with China, you know that China visited him, and he will visit China. And probably when he is going to China, they take him, take him to court. No, I don't know. And actually, they have to do it. After the contract or the UN. China is in the UN, is in the Security Council. They have to do it. I mean,
will they?
They will not. I don't think they will. But that is a crucial thing that we have to know about the different systems. And so when you then look, you can research that in your country as well. What kind of system do you have? So then you have, you heard probably about left-right. America is very known for that, but also the Western world. Africa is a bit less. India, I don't know. Do you have that in India, left-right? Do you know the left-right debate?
Yeah,
you have. But some countries have a bit less, but we have a bit more. So the right is coming out of the Reformation, the right side. The idea I talked about capitalism, or the idea of capital and the spirit of God, you can create more than was before. But when then you take God out and have only capitalism and always making more, and this is the goal, then it's a curse and no more blessing. So, but actually they are coming from the Reformation, and what they want is as less state as possible. Probably heard, no, that's the right wing. So we want to have self-responsibility. We don't need the state, and the state should not control everything. So that's then federalism, or that we want to have the power by the deepest level as possible, by the people who are doing the things, and we don't want to have the power all by the state. So they for federalism and not for centralized session. Yes, Catherine, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wanting to clarify what federalism was. You just explained it, but I didn't understand.
Yeah, federalism means the separation of power in a vertical way. So that you have the state, you have the nation, you have the state, you have the district, you have the department, the commune, and so on. So it's on different level, and every level has several rights. So not all the decision is done by the top. And we in Switzerland, I think we have one of the most federalistic states, that a lot of decisions can be made in our communities. And when we not can, like it came from Moses, who say it's first we have a leader of about 10, then we have about 50, and then about 100. So you deal with the thing there, and you can bring it to the higher level, then to the higher level. So this is also, we have a court system. We centralize everything in the moment. But the idea that we had in the community court, when they could not run the case, so they could appeal to the state court. When this is not functioning in the state court, then could appeal to the nation court, bring it to the higher level. So this is mean federalism on. But first start on the deepest level, what you can do and not make the decision firsthand up there. Then less taxes, they always for less taxes, and of course then less social investments when they left taxes. So men have to take self-responsibility, high ethical values, or based on self responsibility. You look for yourself, you based on high value, and not have to be controlled always by outside. Who is not working should not eat. Probably you heard that from people. It's debate or. And no debt. And no debt. Or I mean that's a huge debate now about the debt. We in Switzerland, I don't know if any other country has that, but we have a limit in our constitution. We cannot do that. So we forced by the law that it's limited us. And when we look in Switzerland, we go back, and most of the country at the moment they go up, more debt and more debt. But we believe, I believe that really as well. I mean, debts make you dependent on something, and somebody has to pay it in the end. And if we pay it, or then later our next generation have to pay it. So that are not good, and therefore we should not have too much. So, but this is the right wing, and then the left coming out of socialism, atheism. And the foundation was there is no God, and when there is no God, then there is no private property, and this idea that everybody should have enough, everybody should have the same, and all of these ideas. So everybody should have the same, more state to control, or the state should control everything, that everybody has enough, and then the question is who is controlling the state. This happened in every communist country, and the state became a dictatorship, and nobody controlled it. So more taxes for the rich, or the richest people are always the bad people. So we have to take more taxes for them and distribute it to the others. Limit the big, people should not come too big. Limit the free market. So free market is not good. You have more the state control businesses, and you tell the businesses what to do and what not to do. Debts are not a problem. Just if you need money, then drink money. So in this sense, and this is so let's say a closed system. So they not think about capitalism creating more. They say we have this, and then we have to distribute what we have. So you cannot say one side is right, one side is wrong. The left is wrong, right is right, or something like that. So I think both have challenges, weaknesses, but also good things in it. I mean, the right would take less care for the poor, for the weak, for the refuge, and all of that, or and the left would not think about that we should become creative, create something, take self-responsibility, and we become more dependent on things. So it's not just say it's not good or not, but often politicians, they stay strongly right or strongly left, and then they make a big conflict. So I try as a politician not to be on one extreme or the other. So when we come, when we see there is another wing, and this is called liberal and conservative. And you know this word liberal and conservative? Did you hear that? So liberal is coming from the French revolution, liberty, that we should be free, that actually this is a contradiction, because the state control everything, but they want to be free. And actually, Napoleon, or he was controlled everything. But this come from, we want to be free, we need human rights, everybody have rights. Be free, no limits, no one who tell you what to do. And capitalism, no limits for business. Also, you have free market, just when you have a good idea, do what you want. But businesses, when they just do what they want, do you think it's a good idea? I don't think so. But so that's the free, the liberal party's free capital market, free sexual choice. Man is free, self-responsible. You don't need a law. It's actually anarchy. So, and this was then the debate, the French Revolution, who then stand against the conservative. The French Revolution was very atheistic. I would not say that they were pure atheistic, but very atheistic. They abolished God, they abolished the symbols. And the conservative were the Christians, and mainly the Catholic Church was strongly involved in that. And so they conservative coming out of catechism and the tradition of the Catholic Church. Yeah. They hold on tradition, they hold on value. Man needs limit. Well, we are all sin is coming from the idea we are all sinners, therefore we need limit. Homosexuality is bad, man and woman should be a family. Religion, Christianity, but also Muslims, they are very conservative, holding on their tradition and their religions and their laws and principles. Or often they are also the fundamentalists. Mainly in Muslim countries, they really fundamentalistic, but also Christians were very fundamentalistic. And we still have, also when I look to the party that supports Donald Trump, I don't know how many fundamentalists are there, or radicalists, and that I think it's not really helpful. So when we look now to that's my profile. Also that's our party. All we were in the election 2019. And you can then do it by yourself. We can do it tomorrow. You can, on the internet, you can answer all the questions, and then you will see which one would fit the best to you of the members of the elections. So that we can do it in Switzerland. So this is from 2019, and you see that's the party. You can, because I'm in a party, you can also see the party. It's me. I put it to. It's me. I standing there. You can see I'm. You know, liberal. Do you see liberal? It's up there. So do you see? Are I liberal? No, I'm far away. I'm more conservative. So my position, political-wise, is conservative. And then you see left and right. It's in German, but I hope you see left. So are I'm left or I'm right? Right, you see, but I'm not so extreme, but I'm still. So yeah. Also in our party, you see, I mean, some people probably didn't feel it out the right way. They point outside there, but you can see that some are really liberal too, and some are really also also left. Yeah, but do you want to do that tomorrow? Do you think? What do you think? Is it helpful for you or? So so you then when you did it, and I did it, and then you see which one fit the best to you, which parliamentarian fit the best to your position, and it's actually then in 4. It's now in 8. Before it was 4, but it's 8, and you can see mine is the green one, and the other one is the blue. So this Hans Kipfer fit the best to me. I best agree with this person. That is then there was the research. So you can see that stream up is the outside politics, and when you will be up, then you're very liberal, and when you're not, then you also liberal. You mean you are very open for globalization and all of this. So do you see where I am? Am I a bit more for globalization or less? I'm under 50, or I'm under 50, I think. And my friend who fit the best to me is probably 75. Yeah, and then we have the on the right side, starting liberal business. So do you see I'm where under 50? Yeah, so I'm not so for. I think we need restriction in businesses. It's not good that business can do what they want, but we need also freedom. So I'm actually a bit in the midst. And then the next one is finances. Also, do I want to have a lot of debt, or do I more restrict it? Then you see, I'm very conservative there as well. And then the law and order. Also, do we need more police or less police? Do we need more laws or less laws? Are I where? What do you think?
No.
Yeah, I'm also so a bit in the middle. So I think we need it, but not too much. Then immigration, up to down immigration. So when you would be a lot, that means you have a lot of restrictions for immigration. So you see, I'm very open for immigrants. I'm not so. Then about environment care, you see here I'm again in the middle. And then is the social care. So I think we should not build more and more social care, because it's reduce dependency, and it stop creativity, and it stop self-responsibility. So I'm also very conservative, or let's say right in this Yes.
What is the meaning of social care in this particular context?
As a social care is, do you think that we want to extend the social care system like people who not find a work, that we give them more money, and that yeah, all of that, and we want to help. My thing is always, I want to help people, but I want to make them independent and not dependent on something. And when you just give them money, then this will not really help them. So we have to invest more in education. We have to invest in this kind, and not just feed them. We have to teach them how to fish and not give them fish. So, there's a lot of debate about that, but this is this interesting thing in politics. Then the last one is the liberal humans. Also, it means do I want to have that everybody can choose his sex, and do I want to have homosexuality? And, so, and you see there, I'm also very strict, or I'm very down. So, but this is then, if you have interest, you can do that in English, and you can answer all the questions, and in the end you will see if you fit to mine, or you can put mine and yours together, and then you see the difference in our political views.
That's smartvote.ch.
Yeah, smartvote.ch is the. So, what do you think? Should we do that?
Yeah, we can.
Are you interested in it? So, because it's a, there are many questions that we have to answer. So.
I'd like to do smart.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope you could take something with you, and I will give back to the school leader.